Hey everybody, get in here. It is Wednesday night. It's conspiracy theory night. This is the Shawn Yankey show. Come on in. We're a little bit late tonight. We had a little bit of technical problems, but we got everything up and running now, I think. We're good everywhere, so get in here. We're getting ready to get started with my favorite night, conspiracy theory night. But this is a live, interactive chat show where we can and do talk about and get into absolutely everything. This is one of a kind. I've never seen anything like this. I really like what it's become. So get in here and join in on the discussion and participate. Take part in the show. We do not bite. We will not bite you. And the better the comment section is, the better the show will be. Everyone can tell you that. All the people that gather here every day. But we gather every day, Monday through Friday, right here. Wherever you're watching this show, we're here every day on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So share it out. If you're digging it, share it out. It's independent. It's as independent and grassroots as it gets. And I depend on y'all. So get this out there. Share it everywhere you can. And get creative. But smash the like buttons. Make sure you hit like on this video. Take 2 seconds. Hit that like button. And if you're on Facebook, hit it like it owes you money. You know, it don't matter. Just keep banging on it. But let me see who's here. Hey, Helen. Helen got first tonight. Joan, Nicole, Steve, Jack. Jack's making hamburgers. Your wife's at work. You got the house to yourself making hamburgers. Man. Yeah, I do. I want to get the TV with rabbit ears and aluminum foil for conspiracy theory night. For the set here, I think that would look really good. Yeah, Helen might bite. We might nibble. We don't bite, but we might nibble. But come on in here. What this is what we do on Wednesday nights. If you're new to the show, is we talk about conspiracy theories. We get into all kinds of conspiracy theories. Tonight, I've got a few things planned out to get into with you as I usually do, but we can get into anything you want. Like I say, Wednesday nights, the theme is conspiracies, but it can be anything, any conspiracy. We've covered some of the more extreme ones already. We can get back to it. But let me see. I'm trying to pull up my YouTube channel because the way I usually do this is I play. Why do I have two lives going on YouTube? I don't know what's going on there. Is there shenanigans? We're okay. It looks like YouTube's fine. Hey, Kathy. Good to see you. Yeah, YouTube's good. That's who I was having trouble with tonight at the beginning of the show was YouTube. But, make sure everything's okay and pull up the video. Because that's what we usually do. I play a video of mine for us to get the conversation going. And then we hang out and talk about other stuff. But I've got a bonus after the video because I was working on another video all day and I didn't get it done to my satisfaction, but my head is full of it and I'm dying to talk about it. I'm looking into bloodlines of the elite and how they have basically used eugenics throughout history. The more I looked, the more connections were made. It's very deep rabbit hole. We can start out talking about Chester Bennington and John Podesta and follow that back. And it actually goes further back than just John Podesta. But I want to show tonight, the video we're going to watch is going to be on some Mandela effects. And I really dig the Mandela effect. It's very interesting to me. For many reasons. Now, I experience it. If you don't know what it is, the Mandela effect is when you remember events or brands or logos or things that happened a different way than they actually are when it's mass remembrance of that. So we're going to watch a video on that and then get into John Podesta and Chester Bennington. And that's a deep rabbit hole. That goes a lot of different directions. So we can get in any angle of that. We can talk a little bit about the mysterious deaths, how maybe John Podesta was responsible for that, and get into a lot of things. But let me see what you're talking about. Kathy, I wanted to do the underpants gnomes. Like I said, we cover anything, and I almost covered underpants gnomes. Kathy wanted underpants gnomes. Joan says the little hearts and likes won't float up anymore. Does anyone else's work? Did Facebook take away the react buttons? I would hate that because I get entertained by that. But what we're going to do here in a second is we're going to play the video. The video gives time for us to get the conversation going on Wednesday nights and people to get in here and join us. And it's pretty cool. It's a custom-made conspiracy theory video just for you guys, made by me. So it's neat. Yeah, Helen, we all float here. We all float here. Come on in. But I'm going to change the set here in a second and get ready to play the video. Hey, Dale. More people coming in on Facebook. That's good. And feel free to talk and communicate any conspiracies you guys want to talk about. Doesn't have to be about the topics that I throw out during my little rant and video. Could be anything, and we'll get into it. We usually hang out for a good little while. But I'm going to change the set here and play the video for you. See, I think that's cool that we still get to see the old logo. We used to do a show on Wednesday nights called Conspiracy Theories and Chill. And that's why Wednesday nights is now Conspiracy Theory Night, because everything is now under one umbrella of the Shawn Yankey Show. But every time I see this old logo, it makes me feel chill. It's like the same for me, because it's my show, but the same for me as when I see like the Star Wars crawler at the beginning of a new Star Wars film. It's like the same experience for me. I love seeing it. But we're going to watch this video. It's 12 and a half minutes long. Afterwards, we're going to get into John Podesta and Chester Bennington connections, and even John Podesta's connections to the Rockefellers and Joseph Mengele. So it gets pretty wild and bumpy on this show. But let's watch this video on Mandela effects to get the conversation going, and afterwards we'll hang out and talk. Thanks for showing up. Welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill. On this episode, I'm going to go into 25 of my favorite Mandela effects. The Mandela effects are a phenomenon where many people remember things a way that they never actually were. There are many theories on the causes of this phenomenon. One theory is that glitches in space-time are being caused by experiments done at CERN. Another is that the Mayans were correct and the world did end in 2012, and since then we've been traveling realities. Some even think the world as we know it is a computer-simulated matrix, and what we're experiencing are bugs in the system. Others just believe it's bad memory causing Mandela effects. But whatever it may be, I find the Mandela effects fascinating. And if you do too, stick around because you will love this video, because I'm going to go into 25 of my personal favorite Mandela effects. Now, as you know, there are hundreds of Mandela effects out there, so you can understand how hard it would be to narrow down a list of 25. But to rank them was just too much, because I experience every Mandela I'm going to talk about on this list, and many of them just blow my mind too much. So in no particular order, here are my top 25 Mandela effects. Let's start with changes in famous logos. Like Febreze. Everyone knows the fabric freshener spray Febreze, but how is it spelled? I and many others remember it like this, with double E's. But it's always been like this, no matter how much myself and others would absolutely swear it at least used to be like this. It even makes more grammatical sense for it to be this way, but no, it's always been like this. The same is true for all the logos on this list, by the way. It's not that the logo or name has changed, like people always like to say. I looked into these, and in these examples, it's never been the way people remember it being. It's not a logo change, it's a Mandela effect. For instance, many people remember Jiffy peanut butter, but there never was a Jiffy peanut butter. It's always just been JIF Jif that choosy moms chose because they couldn't choose Jiffy because it didn't ever exist. Another good one is Kit Kat. It has always been spelled just like that. Kit Kat smushed together. Not like this with a dash in the middle. You know the way that looks right? No, it's always been this, no dash. I remember Kit Kat having a dash between Kit and Kat. What do you remember? Tell me in the comments. For this next one, picture the Monopoly Man. Does he have a monocle? The correct answer is no. He's never had a monocle. Many people, myself included, remember vividly him having one, but no, he never did. Now what about Curious George? When you think of him, does he have a tail? I thought he did, but I'm wrong again because he never did have a tail. Then there's the Publishers Clearinghouse. When you think of the Publishers Clearinghouse, who do you picture as their spokesman? If you're like me and many others, you remember it being Ed McMahon. But Ed was never the spokesman for Publishers Clearinghouse. In fact, they never had a spokesman at all. By now you may be feeling dizzy and wondering if we do live in a matrix. Well, here's one from that movie. What if I told you that this famous scene where Morpheus says to Neo, "What if I told you that everything you believe is a lie," is actually not in the movie at all? That blew me away, and what's causing it is probably the famous meme series that was made out of that picture. But I remember it being in the movie, and many people do. Another good one is from Silence of the Lambs, where Hannibal says, "Hello, Clarice." Good scene, right? I agree, but we're wrong because he never says that. He says good morning. He doesn't even say good morning, Clarice, just good morning. The movie's name is also a Mandela because it's not Silence of the Lambs at all. It's The Silence of the Lambs. Even though most people don't remember the, it's always been there. Now this next one's from the Wayans brothers comedy parody film Scary Movie. Marlon Wayans' character is parodying a line from the hit film Sixth Sense, in which the main character reveals that they see dead people. And many people remember Marlon saying, "I see white people," which is funny, and it was a comedy after all, but no. He says, "I see dead people," just like the kid from Sixth Sense, which isn't a joke and makes no sense. There are a lot of Mandelas in the movies. This next one has to do with the intro to Disney films. Do you remember Tinker Bell swooping in and sprinkling fairy dust before each Disney film? I do, but we shouldn't, because it's always just been the castle. Tinker Bell did fly in the television show intro, which is where people are probably getting it from, but I remember in the films too. The classic Disney film Snow White has a big Mandela effect in it as well. Many people remember the evil witch saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" But it's not mirror, mirror, it's magic mirror. That sounds so wrong, but check it out. She says magic mirror on the wall. And The Wizard of Oz has got 2 Mandelas in it, so it has to be on this list. The first one we gotta address is again with something an evil witch says. The Wicked Witch, when she's sicking her flying monkeys on Dorothy's caravan, yells out, "Fly, my pretties," in my memory. But I'm wrong again, because she only says fly, fly, fly. For this next one from Wizard of Oz, think about the Scarecrow. Now in your memory of him, does he have a gun? He does now. Or rather, he always did, but I don't remember him ever having a gun. It just looks wrong. Or how about this iconic scene from Star Wars where Darth Vader says, "Luke, I'm your father." Except he doesn't ever say that. What he actually says is, "No, I'm your father." Even now, as I'm reading that, my brain is fighting with itself. "Luke, I'm your father" looks right to me and many others, but it's wrong nonetheless. Now the biggest movie one has got to be from the James Bond film Moonraker. And it has to do with the character Jaws' love interest and how she used to have braces, which makes the whole connection between the two of them make sense, but now her braces are gone. See, Jaws never thought he'd find love because of his metal teeth, but then she smiled at him and he saw she also had metal teeth, but now she just has a regular smile and it's just all wrong. This next one on my list also reflects a big change in reality for me. Do you remember Bruce Springsteen's iconic album Born in the USA? Think about the album cover where Bruce is standing with his back turned and he's wearing blue jeans and a white t-shirt and has what in his back pocket? If you remember a red bandana, I'm right there with you. But it's not a red bandana now, it's a red hat. Or how about the classic Queen song, We Are the Champions? In the climax of the song, I remember him singing, We are the champions of the world. But he does not. In the studio recording, he does not sing of the world. Where this Mandela comes from is he did sing it that way in the live versions, but I and many other people remember the radio version having him singing that way. But it doesn't, and it never did. Historical events changed as well, like the Lindbergh baby. Many people remember the Lindbergh baby never being found, but the Lindbergh baby was found and his kidnappers were captured. Or what about the 1997 Tyson Holyfield fight? I watched this fight on pay-per-view when it first happened. I remember it vividly, and in my memory of the fight, Tyson bit a big chunk out of Evander's ear. But if you look back on it now, he still bites him, and he even breaks the skin, but he doesn't bite out a chunk and spit it out the way I remember. Now this next one's a little embarrassing, but for a while, I've since corrected myself, but for a long time, I thought there were 52 states. I since found out I'm not alone, and this is also a Mandela effect. Many people remember there being 52 states, and remember being taught that in school. However, there are only 50 states, not 52. Speaking of getting numbers wrong, how many times did we land on the moon? I thought it was 6, but Neil deGrasse Tyson and many others think we only landed on the moon 1 time.
And had I known that our first steps on the moon would essentially be our last steps on the moon, I would have done somersaults. I would have said, oh my gosh, this is a unique moment in the history of our species. Never to happen again. Let me revel and celebrate and pop champagne corks.
Now, many people remember there being only 1 moon landing, but Neil deGrasse Tyson is an astrophysicist. He studies space for a living and doesn't know how many moon missions there were. Meanwhile, I learned of 6 with a basic high school education. Famous art has changed as well, like the Thinker statue. Think about the famous Thinker statue. Is he leaning on his fist? I and many people remember it like that, but no, his hand is open now, not a closed fist, and he's just lazily leaning on it. The Mona Lisa has changed too. The Mona Lisa used to have no expression. You couldn't tell if she was happy, sad, or indifferent. But now she's clearly smiling. That's a smirk even. This Mandela is way up there for me because I clearly remember the Mona Lisa being expressionless and that being a big talking point to the piece. But there's no mistaking now that she's clearly smiling. Now for the top 3 on my list. I know I said I couldn't rank these, and that's true, but I do have a top 3. The first one is the Statue of Liberty, and it's in my top 3 because it has 3 Mandelas attached to it. To start, did you know that the Statue of Liberty was attacked, causing permanent damage to the torch section? I didn't, but you can look it up. It's known as the Black Tom Explosion. German spies blew up an ammunition barge, causing a huge explosion measuring a 5.5 on the Richter scale. It was the first terrorist attack on American soil, and ever since that attack, the torch has been closed to the public. But many people have memories of visiting the torch section, even though they couldn't have in this reality because it's been closed off since 1916. Another thing that has changed with the statue is its location. Many people, including myself, remember the Statue of Liberty being located on Ellis Island, but it's not. It's located on Liberty Island. Number 2 on my list has to do with a historical figure. Eli Whitney, the inventor of the cotton gin. Now, when you think of Eli Whitney, in your memory, is he a white man or a black man? Now, I remember him as a black man and have vivid memories of learning about him in school during Black History Month, but no. Eli Whitney is and always has been a white man. That blows my mind so much it had to be number 2 on my list. Beaten out only by the Mandela that, in my opinion, is the godfather of them all, the Berenstain Bears. or rather the Berenstain Bears as they're known in this reality. I say that way because I was a big reader as a child and I loved the Berenstain Bears books. And they were called the Berenstain Bears because I always used to wonder if it was pronounced Steen or Stein. I remember struggling with this. I knew how to say stain. It wasn't Berenstain, it was Berenstein, and I'd bet my life on it. So thanks for stopping by and checking out my favorite Mandela effects. Let me know in the comments below if you share any of these with me or you think there are some better ones that I left off my list. Thanks for watching, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time right here from me on Things and Stuff. Whoops, I restarted it. All right, that was the video. And Clinton, you nailed it during the video. You said CERN. I think the same thing. My opinion is that the Mandela effects are real. Every one of them that I list in that video, I experience. I get every one of them. All 25 in that video, I experience. That's why I made that particular list. But I experience these. My wife, Babos, does not. Not a single one. And I find that fascinating. But I do. How do you guys feel? Some of you get it. Some of you do see it. Let me see what you've been saying during the video. Now I can see your comments. I was going back and forth and checking what you guys have been talking about during the video. Lori says she remembers the hat. Now, I remember Bandana on the Bruce Springsteen album cover. And I role-played it at a talent show. I did that video for a talent show at school. So I dressed up as the album cover, and I remember it wrong. Helen remembers the hat, though. I mean, Lori remembers the hat. And you got that album for Christmas? Helen said Invisalign. Oh, yeah, the girl from Jaws, or the girl from the Moonraker movie, for the Bond movie, that was Jaws' girlfriend. Yeah, she got her teeth fixed. She no longer has braces. I find that fascinating. And the gun in Wizard of Oz, Steve, yes. What was cool is, did you say that before or after? There's a delay, and I couldn't tell. But it looked like you said that right before the video said it. And that would be cooler to me. I want to believe you said it right before the video said it. But the gun in the Wizard of Oz, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. Yeah, I vividly remember a bandana too. In the watch party, which I can see. I have to look at my phone to do it, but we're getting it. Getting it together. But I remember it being a bandana. What about the Queen song? I remember Of the World. That's only in the lives. Like I said, though, that's where people get it. But the Simpsons predictions? Oh, Steve, I could do a whole video on Simpsons predictions. Back to the Future's prediction of 9/11. Yeah. Have you seen that video? That's an interesting video. They, Twin Towers or the Twin Trees Mall or something like that becomes the Single Tree Mall. Clocks are on 9/11. There's a lot to that one. That's an interesting one. Lori said, I went to 3 of his concerts and had the album cover all over or covering my face all the time. Loved the boss. And a bandana was his signature. So that's where I'm getting it confused. The Berenstain Bears makes me mad too, Helen. That makes me mad. Because it's not the Berenstain Bears. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't be called the Mandela effect. It should be called the Berenstain effect. Let's see. Yeah, me too. Me too, Kelly. I remember bandana. And there was no gun in Wizard of Oz. Where'd this gun come from? There's a lot of changes in Wizard of Oz. And The Simpsons is crazy wild. You know, there's still a few Simpsons predictions that haven't come true yet. And they predicted a lot of things, including the Trump presidency. But they predicted 9/11. They predicted, I think they even predicted the Evander and Tyson fight where he bit his ear. They predicted a lot of things. Hey, Paul, top fan. How you doing, man? We haven't got into Podesta yet. So you're right on time. You're right on time. I wasn't going to throw together a half-assed video. There was too much. Too much. Helen said, I know how to read at an early age. I wouldn't have stumbled over stain. This is exactly why I know that wasn't what it was called either. They weren't the Berenstain Bears. I know how to say that. I struggled with it because I never knew if it was Steen or Stein. And it was a big deal to me as a kid. Because when you're learning to read, you want to say things correctly. You want to say them the way that they are. So this was a big deal. This is a big part of my childhood. I remember it vividly. And that one upsets me. It breaks my mind. Now, Clinton, during the video, had brought up CERN. This is exactly the kind of shit they're messing with at CERN. They're messing with the fabric of reality. They want to undo reality. Their mascot is Shiva, the god of destruction. There's a lot of weird at CERN, but they are messing with things that have the potential to maybe alter time, alter space-time. They're messing with things they shouldn't be messing with at CERN. Lori said, I learned to read at 4 with Dr. Seuss. Stein, 100%. Kaylin, 100%. Me and you. Like this. We're like peanut butter and jelly right now. I'm with you. And I'm so glad that this took off, that this got off the ground. Because I didn't want to be all serious tonight. I wanted to have a fun one, you know, and like I said, I spent my whole day researching connections between John Podesta, Chester Bennington, and Chris. It ended up with Chris Cornell going over here. Ashton Kutcher got in the mix. It got crazy, so I couldn't just throw together a video of that. I'm going to have to work on it and start that series next week, but it's going to be a whole series on bloodlines, and it was recommended by Top Fan, and there's a lot here. You know, we could just as likely have been talking about Angela Merkel and Hitler tonight. We could have just as likely been talking about Justin Trudeau and Castro. There's a lot of evidence for eugenics and selective breeding among the elites, and we're going to do a whole series on it. Steve's never heard of those Jewish bears? Blasphemy, sir. Get out of here. They taught me how to read. Oh. He is on fire tonight, Lori. Jiff is new. Jiffy is what I remember, Lori. Jiffy. I remember there being a Jiffy, but there's not. And I'm not alone in that. It shows up in a lot of like cartoons, and there's a lot of people that remember it that way. You remember Jif. Dale doesn't. Do you experience any of them, the Mandelas? Or are you like Babos and don't experience a single one? Never does she ever. I thought she did one time, but it was me. I was remembering it wrong. I had it messed up in my head when I was talking to her about it. Yeah, Joan, I remember Jiffy too. Chauvin and George. Oh, yeah, Michelle. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they work together. From what I can find, it's all a little sketchy and vague of how long, but at least 5 years. They worked security together at a nightclub. Chauvin worked outside security, and George Floyd worked inside security. They definitely knew each other. They did. And they did finally charge all the officers. I'm still not completely convinced they will see it through. We saw what happened with Philando Castile in that case. That ended up getting thrown out. But they have raised the level or the degree of the murder charge for Chauvin to second degree now. And then they have charged the others with aiding and abetting a second degree murder and second degree manslaughter. So they're at least trying to appease the people and some kind of justice. Michelle's from London. Right on. The conversation just went south, Lori. No, it did not. Oh, stop. Like I said at the beginning, we can talk about absolutely everything. But I am definitely going to pull us back to conspiracy theories. Kalen says 1976. Something happened that year, merging timelines. Something, but everything was different after 76. And I was born in 76. So Beba's was born in 77. So maybe she experiences a different timeline than me. I don't know why, but she doesn't get any of them. Kelly says, why can't I see the comments? There's a reason. The comments that I'm reading, that I'm reading right now are from the main feed. Then there's also a feed on YouTube and Periscope. So where you're at is a watch party, and so we're everywhere. I'm keeping track of 4 different comment threads, but that's why you can't see all of the comments. If you go to my page for this show, the Shawn Yankey Show is the name of the page. Give it a like. You can follow this show, and then you'll be at the main feed, and you'll be able to see and interact with everybody's comments. But rest assured, I can see what you're saying. So feel safe wherever you're at to stay right there. But Lori says, please, I can't take it. It's all planned false flags by the Luciferian New World Order. The particulars be damned. Yeah, but we couldn't avoid talking about the New World Order on Conspiracy Theory Night. And it is a conspiracy, what's happening with George. Epstein, for instance, let's back up. Let's change gears a second. We all know that he didn't kill himself. That's common knowledge. Even people that aren't aware or informed understand that Epstein didn't kill himself. That was in a jail cell under constant protection. That happened. So anything's possible. Nothing's outside of the realm of possibilities. And they do want us arguing and dividing. And definitely refuse. Refuse. Real quick, and again, I'm not going to land here. And I'm going to blame you for this one. You're the one that keeps pulling us back here. I want to get away. I'm winking at you because I'm not seriously chastising you. But it is divide and conquer. And they're getting you to fight each other and the police. And these are not our enemies. Our enemies, I posted a post on Facebook today, and I stand behind it, have names and addresses, and they get away with this shit every day by diverting us and misdirecting us and misinforming us and distracting us and getting us to fight amongst each other or the people paid to protect their assets. Lori says it was an honest to devil fake death. And that's not outside the realm of possibilities. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, Wednesday is conspiracy theory night. We did something weird here. And it's working so far. We're 40 episodes in. But we rolled like 5 shows into one. and kind of do theme nights sometimes. And Wednesday is conspiracies. Suspicious link between Chauvin and George. You're right. Lori says, arguing about the info they plant. I don't do that. I find better info. That's why you check out this conversation. Because I'll tell you about who George really was, who Derek really is, how sketchy his relationship is with his wife and his Asian partner's relationship, how sketchy it is that the crew he shows up to arrest a guy he knows, who I'm starting to think was maybe having an affair with his wife, is his brother-in-law and his buddies. Come on. The whole thing stinks. Michelle says, I'm kind of a loner, so brain doesn't bah. Yeah, that's one way to be protected. That's one way to be protected. Hey, Jay. Oh, you're welcome, Kelly. I love this, doing this. And Wednesday's my favorite night. And that's the one I usually share to your particular group where you're watching this show. Because I love you guys, and I know you like the truth. And that's what Wednesday night is all about, wall to wall. Because even though it's conspiracies, there's a lot of truth in conspiracies. You know, and we're shamed into not pursuing them. But that's why. Because they don't want you to find the truth that's in there. I'm not saying every conspiracy theory is true. I'm saying that there's more truth in them than there is on the news or the television. Kathy says his criminal past shouldn't be a damn death sentence. I have a record. Don't kill me. Just saying. No. And you know what? It was a $20 bill. And I don't care about his past. I'm not saying anything justifies what happened. I'm saying it. There was cameras pointed at it. It's weird. When you look at the other angles from the other side of the street, there's no crowd there anymore. And Lori's right. In a big way, we're being played and manipulated. You know, I shared a report by Ben Swan, who was ostracized to independent media because he was brave enough to share the truth about these bricks being laid out for protesters. And that shit is being steered and driven. And that's why I wanted to cover Mandela's and Bloodlines tonight, because we're being played. And it's an elephant in the room, and it's hard to not talk about it. So, Steve says Podesta is evil. Pizzagate. Let's get on to that for just a second. So, Chester Bennington of Lincoln Park. It is looking very much to me like what got him killed is that he found out not only that John Podesta is his father, but what John Podesta is about, what he was doing, and a lot of other things, and was going to bring it to light, him and Chris Cornell, and that got them both killed. But I do believe that Podesta is Chester Bennington's biological father. I can't prove it, though. It drove me nuts. I tried all day, right? There's connections. He's a family friend. He knows them. The father worked a lot. The mother was home alone a lot. And it's implied heavily that there could have been a relationship. I couldn't prove it to my satisfaction. But I just want to, I hate to switch sets while I'm talking, but I want to show you, for anybody who doesn't know off the top of your head, what these two men look like. I want to show you the resemblance just really quick. I'm going to switch. I won't be able to see your comments for a second, but I want to show you this. This is John Podesta and Chester Bennington side by side. And there's tons of examples of side-by-side pictures of them right here, as you can see. But the resemblance is uncanny. And if I can find one where they're looking, here, look at this one, where they're looking to the side even. Can you see that good? I can try to make it bigger. It looks like you can see it okay when I'm looking at it on the phone. The resemblance between these two is uncanny. And I don't know if they've got a picture of his real father or the man that they claim is his real father. But they say there's a resemblance. I don't see it at all, but I do see one here. And there is a lot of evidence tying the two together, because it turns out that Chester's early musical career was a little bit blessed. Doors seemed to open for him a little bit easier than for anyone else. And then Linkin Park, the band themselves, had received money on multiple occasions from the Clinton Foundation, which is weird. In one instance, specifically for Haiti, the Linkin Park's charity involvement with Haiti. In that instance, it was $300,000 for a grant. There's pictures of this, proof that with them and Bill Clinton getting this money, and they're all, we didn't even apply for this. So we all know John Podesta is heavily tied to the Clintons. He ran Bill's campaigns and Hillary's. He's very connected to the elite and these occultists. Is into the spirit cooking and the satanic practices of the elite. Then you find out that this band, very good band, could have made it on their own, but seemed to have been blessed in a way that gives credence to the theory. Like I said, I couldn't find hard proof, but that's going to be true almost in every instance with this series, because the other problem I ran into with looking into Chester Bennington and his connections to John Podesta was everything is taken down. Especially any videos getting into this subject, I would get there and it would be 404, not found. You know, that is book burning. That is modern day book burning, and they're destroying information in real time. It was very hard to research this. But looking into this guy, John Podesta, it gets a little bit deeper. So I'm going to come over here just because I want to be able to see you guys' comments. I'm going to switch back now that I showed you what I wanted to show you. And this way I can see what you're saying. But John Podesta, it turns out, is connected to the Rockefellers. See, this shit goes back to these bloodlines. Turns out, and this is what's widely believed, is there's at least these 13 satanic bloodlines that have been preserved throughout history. You know, I've often said it in a different way, that Rome never died. You know, the powers that be have been in control for hundreds of years. They've just moved underground, moved their operations. They lead from the shadows. They're not interested in ruling out front, sitting on the throne. They let anyone sit there. It doesn't matter. As long as they have complete and total control of that person, they care very little about who's actually leading, because they're always in control, and they always have been. But it turns out they're practicing eugenics actively and interbreeding, because John Podesta's actual father, and I wish I had a picture of this brought up so you could see these two side by side, because this is a little bit amazing too, and it just keeps getting deeper the more you follow it back. But John Podesta's father is rumored to be none other than Nazi Joseph Mengele. It's maddening when you start tracing it all back. But like I said, though, it looks like there is a lot here with Chester Bennington. But I didn't make a video of it today because I didn't want to make a half-assed video. No, and that's what I'm saying. I need DNA proof. Some kind of proof. Not DNA, but I needed something solid. I could only find circumstantial proof and that they look very much alike. Okay? And the resemblance is uncanny. They look, but again, giving fairness to both sides. Because now I can see your comments again, and I see that a couple people are mad at me. Giving fairness to both sides could just look alike. Could be a coincidence. Hey, Donna. Fancy running into you here. How you doing? But yeah, it could just be a coincidence because they look so much alike. Again, I don't believe in those. I never really have. Steve, Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son. Do I have that pulled up? I was, I didn't mean to bookmark that. Anyways, I was researching these bloodline things all day. So I bet you I bookmarked it. There it is. I knew I did. So we can look at this too. But yeah, Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro. Angela Merkel and Adolf Hitler. Angela Merkel is more than likely Hitler's daughter from his frozen sperm. These stories are crazy. And again, Michelle, I'm a conspiracy theorist. She asked me if I'm serious. This is conspiracy theory night. These are conspiracy theories. So no, not entirely serious, but it's not outside the realm of possibilities. The world is messed up, and let me show you. Look at this. Look at this real quick and tell me what you think. Just hang with me for just a second. Look at these two men. Can y'all see that? I want to make sure real quick that you can see this, but side-by-side pictures. They got the same face shape, everything. Nose, ears, eyes even. Look at that when you age them, when you put them at similar ages, when you give him facial hair, he looks just like his daddy. And there's more connections, circumstantial connections anyway, between Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro. The Merkel one is very interesting because these are exactly the kind of things Hitler was into, but it's not just Hitler. Hitler was a representative of the elite. Those that rule over us, that truly rule over us, as I said, have been in power forever, have no countries of loyalty, and fund every war, both sides. They benefit and profit off every war and conflict. So you might be thinking about this as, oh, that's impossible because of borders and shit like that. Then none of that matters to these people. None of that matters to these people. And they want to preserve their bloodlines. The royal family in England is in these kings and queens and shit aren't the only ones that care about that stuff. The elite do. So, I don't know. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm leaning to, yeah, I'm kind of serious. There's a lot here. Now, like I said, it gets weirder, but these are the things we do cover on Wednesdays. You won't see us usually talking about this on Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. But if you ever stop by one of those nights, you're usually safe. We'd usually be talking about current events or something like that. But on these nights, we explore things like this. And how much these two men look like twins. What do y'all think? Seriously. Let me pull this up. Yeah, you can see that. Kathy said have another hit. Oh, I switched back and forth. I meant to look at the watch party. Oh, okay. My pocket took me out of the watch party. I have to have it up on my phone in order to be able to see what you're saying. But let's see. Jack says he's got to get out of here. You got to go plant. My girl's in the greenhouse. Mindo Perp, Purple Starburst, Skunk, and Purple Wizard. Jack, look, man, I need some of that. I need some of that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna drive up. We're gonna work something out. I'm tired of paying for flour. I gotta tell y'all, this is not a conspiracy. This is a fact. So I probably shouldn't be bringing it up, and it's kind of off topic, but cannabis is overpriced drastically. Paul says hush money from the Clinton Foundation, which coincidentally is ran by Podesta. The money that was given to Lincoln Park there was so much there, Paul. Paul is the one that recommended that topic. And there was so much there. It was. Are we still in the web browser set? We are, aren't we? There was so much there that it was a little overwhelming. Let me fix that. That's distracting. I kind of knew something like that was going to happen. That's the fun of live, is sometimes I break the fourth wall, and you realize that it's just one guy running all this. And I do all right. You know what I mean? That was just a little sloppy. But you got to see what the Facebook Live looks like for me. That was what the screen looks like during a live stream on Facebook for me. Isn't that weird? YouTube's even a little bit weirder. Jeffrey says everybody's mad at the police and not the people who militarized the police. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton got that rolling. But the elite did. The president is just a puppet of the elite. Because Lori's right. The New World Order runs everything. Michelle says the Mafia Church in the Vatican. See, I knew you belonged here. I saw you when you came in. I recognized that you was one of us. Oh, the Mafia and the Vatican connections are fascinating. That is on a back burner. I have a lot of things that I need to get done, honestly. I need more time to do this. Really, I do. But, yeah, good night, Jack. Steve says 23andMe. Why do you think Harry bailed out of the Royals? Oh, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why that could be. That's a Pandora's box right there. Yeah, Jack, sweet dreams, man. I know you're not going to have any problem with that because of that lineup that you just listed off. I'm sure that you have some good flour. I love flour. Jessica says Barbara Bush and Aleister Crowley. And it goes on and on and on. It doesn't end there. There's other examples. If Paul's still here, he could list them off. The bloodline thing and this eugenics by the elite is real. But we could sit here for the rest of the night pulling up pictures and showing you. But Barbara Bush looks just like her daddy. And her daddy's Aleister Crowley, who was the high priestess or a priest. I don't know why I said priestess. Because Maria Abramovich stuck in my head, and I don't know if I'm saying her name right. I don't even care to say her name right, but that's their current priestess. But Aleister Crowley was the priest of the occult, for the elite. And Barbara Bush looks just like him. Kathy says Satan loves us a lot more than Yahweh. Just my opinion. Well, let's touch on that for just a second. Does he? Because the elite believe that too. That's the elite's belief structure, that Satan is the good guy in the Bible. So is he? Is he really, though? Is he trying to help you? Can you be godlike? Can you be like God? Or is he a deceiver? Is he lying to you? Is he illuminating the people? Because the fallen were said to have taught humanity all of these things that we weren't supposed to be taught. And spread this among the people. And he would lead those of the fallen. That was his army. So there's a lot of evidence to the opposite there, but the elite do believe that Satan is the good guy. I know you're an atheist and you don't believe at all, but the elite do believe Satan is the good guy. Michelle's out, needs sleep. What time is it there? See, we're all over the world. See what I'm saying? At one point, I was trying to learn time zones so that I could tell you what time this show is on. But we have a viewer on YouTube from Germany. We have people everywhere. Michelle tonight was from London. How would I know all these time zones? I would have to do time zones for the first 10 minutes of the show. Jessica says, check out attorney Stephen Wasserman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz's brother, connected to protecting human traffickers. Kathy says Barbara Bush is the high priestess of centrists. And Kathy says, we are all divine, Shawn. Touche, in a way. But you understand what I'm saying, right? That's what these people preach and believe. That they can have power. And I'm sure that there's potential in the human body and the mind that is hidden from the people. And I'm sure there is power that can be achieved through that information. And they believe there is. So there's strong evidence that there is. But you know what I mean. What they think. A deist. I don't know what none of this stuff is. Do you believe in God? Because, like, for me, that's the same as, I don't know, some of these other things that we're expected to learn now. These different categories. Like, you either do or you don't. To me, like, what is a deist? You probably explain it. Not an atheist. I just believe Creator creates and moves on. Oh, that's what a deist is? I didn't know. I got to take my hat off. I'm getting hot. I like to wear the hat. You know, the hat is kind of a security blanket. But we've been without the hat for a little while. I had to leave it behind because of lighting problems. But we've got a better light now. Steve says it's tomorrow already in Australia, just saying. See what I'm saying? So this isn't even on Wednesday in Australia. So this whole time I've been talking about Wednesday, and people are like, what are you talking about, mate? What are you talking about, man? Get with it. It's not even Wednesday. Well, let's see. Let me see what the watch party has to say. Donna says a God of love would not encourage pedophilia, rape, trafficking, etc. I disagree that Satan is the good guy. Simple. Yeah, do as thou wilt. Do as thou wilt. That's their philosophy. That's what they believe. You can do whatever you want. Power isn't important, only love, Donna says. My favorite comic, and one of the best ever. And he's got a conspiracy theory around him. Steve knows who I'm going to say. Bill Hicks had a closing bit that I think is one of the reasons why he never got off the ground the way he should have. A comic as good and strong as Bill should have achieved more fame, and even in his short life, than he did. He was suppressed. And it wasn't for reasons that he was vulgar or anything like that. It was because he was talking about the truth. In this closing bit, he would go into a rant about how, basically what Donna was saying, that love is the ultimate power. And that's all that matters. And the rest of this is just a ride. And you shouldn't be afraid, ever. And anyone that's ever tried to tell you that has been killed throughout time. It's a great bit. I'm not going to trash it by trying to recreate it word for word, but I think I summed it up pretty good. And let me tell you what the conspiracy theory is. That same guy who just dropped that pearl of wisdom on the world and then was taken from us too early becomes Alex Jones. Fakes his death and becomes Alex Jones. That's why I can't believe it, Steve. He was the kind of person who would be someone that would sacrifice themselves for what they believe in. And I don't think he would sacrifice everything he believes in to become a misinformation agent for the CIA. How much could they have possibly offered him? Now, I get that there's a ton of information in this conspiracy. What could they have on him to make him betray all of his beliefs? It's Andy Kaufman-esque, I'll give you that, but that was never really his style. Steve says, believe it. Man, I don't want to, but they look a lot alike. There used to be a different Alex Jones. Bill Hicks and Alex look a lot alike. They had the same management firm. They have the same friends. They had the same, were in the same circles. Came to fame right after Bill's death. A lot of weird. It has accepted awards on Bill's behalf. A lot of weird. Kathy says, this is more of what a deist is. Is that what this is? Like that a creator creates without morals. It doesn't give one F about what we get up to. I respect all views. I happen to think that even the Christians wouldn't claim me. I have to say Christian. It's really the only label I could put on it, but that's where I fall. But I don't think they would even claim me because I'm accepting of all views. I don't like to live in a bubble. I like to let all people in. And how are you going to reach anybody unless you think that way anyway? But no, Steve, I don't want to believe it. I don't. I respect you. We're going to have to agree to disagree here. Just like I don't believe we've ever been to the moon, and you do. I think there's a lot of evidence for the fact that we've never been to the moon. There's a lot of evidence that Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. I'll give you that. If you'll give me that there's a lot of evidence that we've never been to the moon. We can come to an agreement here, Steve. We can meet in the middle. I can negotiate. Kathy said, I respect you. I respect you. I respect the hell out of you. I hope you don't think I was being disrespectful. Wasn't trying to be anyway. Jessica says, many interpretations of the word love. Energy is the greatest power. Could energy be interpreted as love? I don't mean that in a smart-ass way. It may have sounded smart-ass. It felt a little smart-ass. I didn't mean it that way, though. I was really asking. Joan says, I respect everyone until they give me a reason not to. That's how I try to be, too. Good night, Steve. And actually, guys, I want to keep going because Wednesday's my favorite night. But I'm going to have to wrap up for the night, too. I want to stay, though, because we got a good group. Everything's going fun. And we haven't even gotten into everything yet. But thank you for watching and joining in the show tonight. And if you had a good time, come back tomorrow. Thursday nights lately have been rant night. We've been ranting on Thursday nights. So we may do that again tomorrow. I don't know yet. I may make that a regular thing for Thursday nights. If you guys are digging that, let me know. But thanks for watching and hanging out. I'll see you guys later on. Not later on, tomorrow.